part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I'm your host, Damon Royster, and today, boy, we're diving back into Spider-Man content. I call this the month of Spider-Man. Happy February, everybody. We're gearing up for the new movie that no one asked for, Madam Webb. I'm not excited, but I am excited to talk about Spider-Man stuff. So, going into the Spider-Man Sony universe, we're going to start with a film that has not been talked about on this podcast. The Amazing Spider-Man from 2012, a.k.a. Andrew Garfield Deserved Better. Joining me today are two wonderful guests. I have a new one and a returning one. We'll start with our returning guest. This first guest is just an LA actor, a frequent guest at Lil Dom's restaurant. You know him, you like him. Please welcome to your ears, Logan Hulick. Hello, Logan.
Hi. Thanks for having me back.
Thank you for coming back. How was you were just in Palm Springs, right?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Your stomping grounds.
I know. I was like, it's kind of my thing, but all right. I guess you can go.
I'm borrowing it from you. Yeah,
Love
it was nice. It was nice to, get out late, still be able to lay by the pool in January.
I know. What a gift the California sun gives us and provides. My second guest is a first-time guest, nowhere near the California sun. They are struggling through winter, I can only imagine. They are an actor, improviser, and writer, and not for nothing, got a real cute hat on. Please welcome to your ears, Leila Gorstein.
Hey, yeah, it's snowing outside.
Couldn't be me. And also, Leila, just shot for shot, you also just got back from Turks and Caicos, I believe.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I love it. I love trips.
We did like a little New Year's trip. It was freaking awesome.
Oh, it's nice. Okay. I love you say awesome. Would you say it was amazing? To help me with this transition?
Not as amazing as, actually more amazing than this movie, for sure.
Okay. A little spoiler to come of Leila's thoughts. The Amazing Spider-Man. Well, I'm going to start with Leila because I feel confident I've never talked to you about superhero movies. And when I asked you to do this podcast, I was surprised that you said yes. Talk to me, like, what is your relationship to Marvel and Spider-Man? Like, do you watch these movies normally?
I feel like I am good at staying on the pulse of what the hell is happening, but it's not something that I seek out. Like, if people are like, oh, we're going to go see Into the Spider-Verse, I'm like, all right, fine, I guess I'll go see that. And my boyfriend also, well, fiance also loves
ding.
to, he's into the movie, so I'll watch it with him. But I had never seen The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was something that was never, it just never popped up for me. And I had no idea that Gwen Stacy existed until Into the Spider-Verse, or whatever the one was that, not Into the Spider-Verse, whatever the one was where they all met up.
Oh, No Way Home. The Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Gwen Stacy is real, and then later in time they made her Spider-Gwen, which is like its own comic run.
Oh, wow.
Would have been great to see Emma Stone doing that, but watch Amazing Spider-Man. I'm going to try not to talk about The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but yes, Gwen Stacy is great, and if you watched Amazing Spider-Man 1...
Gwen Spider, the Spider-Gwen?
In the cartoon movies?
Oh, it's never been made into a real movie?
No, she's just in the Into the Spider-Verse movies,
got it.
Voiced by Haley Steinfeld.
Ooh, okay, well, kind of like that.
Oh, great. She gets her due. Logan Hulick, hello. Last heard talking about the Wolverine. What was it like watching a superhero movie where no one had claws?
Well, I don't know. Does the lizard have claws?
He did.
Huh?
He killed Dennis Leary with those claws.
So I'm just saying, I can't get away from it. Even when you think you've gotten away from it, here come the claws again.
Here come the claws. Is that why you're always scratching people?
Yeah. Giving scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. The claws literally go through him into the other side, and I thought for a moment there he was gonna survive. I was hoping for it. But so I've never seen this movie.
Wow. So both of you were fresh to this.
Yes, and I've seen I've
Oh,
probably seen, as you know, or we've talked about maybe a little, like I've seen maybe like half of the Marvel movies.
yeah, you're a heifer.
Yeah, I'm a halfer, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So because yeah, I always enjoy them when I watch them. I do, but I don't like keep up with it as regularly as a lot of people do. So I'm just like kind of yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but this movie it was good, and it was uh yeah, I thought it was good, and I thought it was fast paced. I thought like right after once it got going, it picked up, and I was like, okay, we're covering ground. The lizard came out of like nowhere, I felt like.
Yes. Okay. Fast paced. After the first 45 minutes, yes, very fast paced.
Okay. All right, there's two paces. There's really, 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 really slow, and then there's like absurdly fast.
Lightning round. But yeah, Layla, you watching Amazing Spider-Man for the first time. My watch me seamlessly transition into talking about the actual movie. I found the first 45 minutes to be really draggy and slow because I watched these a lot. So like I know the spider bites him, he turns to Spider-Man, Uncle Ben dies, like all that. And I was surprised that it took 45 minutes to get all that done. Leila Gorstein, since your first time watching, were you aware of that or did you need that like refresher?
Well, as soon as I saw that the movie was like 2 hours, I was like, oh. So that was my first instinct. But
One more
then,
time, what was that? What was that feeling?
ah, but I I felt like in watching the first 45 minutes, I was like, oh, interesting. In a hero's journey, I feel like there's usually a villain, and the villain hasn't really been introduced yet. And I wonder, and then with Dr. Connors, I was like, this guy has got to be the villain because he's so fucking weird, creepy British, but
Hmm.
it still hasn't been established, and it seems like their relationship's pretty good. So, yeah, I did struggle with it a little bit. Also, just I don't know. I knew the story of Spider-Man already. And then when he went to the actual lab, that was already like a half an hour in when he finally got bitten. So that was crazy to me because he's been
Yes.
bitten for so long. But yeah, the second half though, definitely everything started happening in ways that were like, oh, there were things that weren't fully covered, but that's fine, I guess.
Well,
Have,
yeah, go ahead.
Like what happened? All the policemen that were like turned into big lizards. They didn't really go into that, but
have you
Well,
ever?
at
Well,
the end, Emma Stone's purple mist, as
right,
I'm
that
officially
just
calling
solved
it.
everything.
Yeah.
That it gets really simplistic. It's like, okay, well, the fog changed everything and made it better.
Hmm.
have you ever had like an outline when you're writing something, like, and then you're like,
Always.
yeah, and you know you have to get through the whole outline, but like the
Hmm.
first like 2 points took 40 pages.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a second, I gotta fit the last 7 points of the outline into this movie. That's how it felt, kind of. And
I
they didn't
Yes.
decide to go back and cut the first part at all. They just stuck with it,
Yeah.
and they were like, we're gonna fit it.
Oh yeah, and there. Okay, at the very very beginning, the flashback that was new to me. Like seeing his parent. Like we've never seen Peter Parker's parents
Yeah,
before.
that was wild.
Yeah,
That was cool.
and oh my gosh, that his mom is original Miss Honey in the original Matilda movie.
I was wondering, she looked so familiar to me. That's
Hmm.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, and just, but I don't know. It like what they were like. It was cool to see it, but I maybe just I've been burned by Lost, the TV show, too many times with this like, we have to hurry. Can you tell me what's going on? No, no, no. Secrets. We have to go mysteriously into the night. Goodbye, Peter.
Yeah.
Here's my briefcase. But that's where we meet Mr. and Mrs. Parker. Also, any Life of Pi fans in the chat? Anybody
Okay, I've
see the
never seen
movie
that.
and Logan?
No.
Okay, so you know it's about the boy and the tiger in the boat.
Yeah, I did see Life of Pi actually. Okay, that was a long time ago though, because
Oh, for all of us.
yeah, I haven't never watched it again, and I kind of forget it.
The tiger's name was Richard Parker, and that's the name of Peter Parker's dad. So every time
Oh,
they kept calling him Richard Parker, I was like, the tiger? Just me?
no relation. I wonder.
No,
No relation.
I
I wonder.
So Life of Pi is part of the Marvel universe.
yeah,
You heard it here first.
Not a coincidence.
So Peter's abandoned, raised by his aunt and uncle, and then, like all children who are abandoned, turns into a total loser. I write my
A
notes.
loser that skateboards.
Oh my god, ugh, don't you hate it? So producer Michael did some research on both of you because we like to research our guests. And Leila Gorstein, you actually previously dated Flash Thompson when you were
Oh
in high
yeah.
school.
I love
Uh,
toxic men with insane names.
yeah,
Flash.
Flash, born given name as far as we know. Um, Leila,
Minuscule penis.
okay, and that's what I want to know. What are the details about Flash? What can you
Yeah,
tell
with a
us?
man, with a guy, I shouldn't say man, a boy named Flash, you know that he had to make up for it in the name.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
His dad whooped his ass a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure he had
Mhm.
a really traumatic childhood.
Yeah, we don't care about. We don't want to hear about that though.
And okay,
We don't
wait,
care about why he's mean.
I did take notes during all
Yeah.
of this, and I wrote how the hell is slash not expelled because I accidentally wrote slash, but
Yeah.
how did he beat up this kid so brutally and then not get expelled? That's an insane school.
I agree. And like it's it's such lazy bully writing for writing a bully. Like
Yeah,
he's both the most popular kid in school and the biggest bully. Like you can't be both.
yeah.
Like how
Right.
does he and he's like dating Gwen Stacy? Why would she date him when he's like
Were they
picking
dating?
on
I thought she was tutoring him.
Is that what that was?
And then also that was like her way of shutting him down was being like, I tutor you, you know. You probably shouldn't keep doing this because you're so dumb. And then that was how he stopped.
Yeah,
Yeah, and even like it'd be fine if like no one was disciplined right, and it was like, okay, maybe I can buy into like this is just like like a school where that's like their that's their thought, that's their
Yeah.
mentality is like, we let
Mhm.
our kids like, roam free, But then when Peter breaks the backboard, it was like the worst thing that ever happened, and he's in the
Oh my
principal's
God.
office and it had this like serious like uh disciplinary discussion with his uncle after, and I was like, wait a second, this
Yeah,
other
that
guy's
was
like
crazy.
shoving people's face into food and he broke the
But
backboard.
yeah, but Flash never damaged school property.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Flash also didn't have that sweet dunk.
No, the basketball. Did Logan, you strike me as someone who played sports, mostly because you've told me that you've done that. Did you relate to that basketball scene?
Well, so I'm not a good basketball player. That's like the one sport I don't play, or
Mhm.
like, but I'm notoriously known for shooting the ball a lot.
From
So I
anywhere?
thought, yeah, just from anywhere, right when I touch it, I
Yeah,
just fire it. Um, because it's fun, right?
I think
It's fun
so.
to shoot the ball. Um, but like if I try to dunk, I can get like, I'm average height ish, 5'9". Is that, would you say average?
Same height as me, so yeah.
All right, let's go with
And I'm
it.
almost 5'9", sort of.
Okay, five
Damn.
nine crew.
All right. All right. So when I jump, I can touch like the maybe like 3/4 of the way up on the net
Hmm.
is about as high as I can get. Maybe like it's like so for him to go, his whole body was sideways and above
Yeah.
the rim. I mean, that was from the like 3-point line. I was like, okay, he's feeling himself now. Because at first it was like he's like this awkward teen who's got like these issues because he got these powers, and
Hmm.
then it was like that was like the moment you're like, oh, he's feeling himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's reaction to him having the powers was really weird to me. Everyone was like every time he slammed, he broke something. Like when he slammed the door on Uncle Ben and Aunt May, like everyone's like, he's troubled. Oh my God. Like, aren't you
Well,
wowed by this?
right.
Truly.
But it was kind of like it was like the director told all the actors like, we're gonna map this as if he's on drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Treat
like,
it
And
like it's heroin.
I mean,
yeah,
in a way he was. Logan
True.
Hulick, we did, more research on you guys, and you actually you had a lot in common with Gwen Stacy, we found. Like you also worked at your local science lab in your home city of Rockford, Illinois, and also you had a habit of wearing high knee socks to school every day. So did you like relate to Gwen Stacy having so many similarities?
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I think like a lab coat and like being 13 for me, a lot of people had like an awkward phase then, but for
Yeah.
me it was all lab coats and knee highs.
Yeah.
I think that's really how I got through it. That's how I got through the braces stage. No, seriously though, I did go to a science academy for middle school, and I went to a Catholic high school, which were required to wear uniforms. So you got me.
Wow.
The research paid off.
For once.
But
Amazing.
but were they all right? Just I'm gonna say it.
Please.
They were being sexy.
Who's they? The
Her.
actors or the costumers?
No, well, both. Like
Mhm.
she had a total style,
Yeah.
and it was just it was and then the actors together, her and
Yeah, it was hot
Woo!
chemistry.
it was
I mean,
hot.
let's disclose this 10-year-old gossip, but they were a couple for both of these Spider-Man movies.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, in real
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Okay, you could feel it. There was
Hmm.
so much like nose to nose almost kissing, like that
Oh,
like playing of
Oh yeah.
just
yeah.
them like putting their mouths close together but not letting it happen. And I was
Ugh.
in it. I was for it.
It's like
Yeah.
that. It's like you see actors like go at it on screen, and you're like, "Oh, that's great," and like, but they probably that was it, They did it and they're done. But they like had that kind of like closeness, but almost there, but not there yet, tension, and you're like, "Oh,
Hmm.
they've got to finish this off screen,"
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Ooh, the like unresolved tension that they would have.
They're going to get a drink after this scene.
For sure.
Okay, another hot couple, Sally Field and Martin Sheen.
Yes.
Leila Gorstein, talk to me about because I believe I can't help but notice there's a huge I Heart Martin Sheen poster behind you right now.
I mean, absolutely was blown away that Martin Sheen was there, but my first thought in watching the movie, I wrote down Sally Field, question mark, question mark, question mark. I was shook that Sally Field was there. I had no idea that she was in the movie and that she was gonna be Aunt May.
I
Also, it's
yeah.
such a funny thing, like having only seen the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and old Aunt May, and
Mhm.
then seeing the Far Away Home movie with freaking Marissa Tomei. It's just so funny the varieties of Aunt May.
Oh, I love that you brought that up because I was going to ask like which one do now that you've seen all three, which one do you prefer?
I know this should be my fuck Mary kill, honestly. Um
Damn,
I
that would.
I would love to do a fuck Mary kill of all the Aunt Mays, but I
Ooh,
think I mean, I stand Sally Field. I just think she is really good at what she does.
yeah.
Um, even though I felt like I have a little bit of trouble with the whole hero journey in general, because I just feel like women are just played into this whole convention of the heteronormative, like women can't take care of themselves and have to be saved. And Sally
Mhm.
Field was just such a strong example where it's like, you didn't pick up your Aunt May because she can't walk outside at all. And I get it, it's late at night, but it was just like that. And then that's like basically what kills Uncle Ben is the fact that
Yeah,
May can't be by herself.
that is true.
Question. What was I answering?
I was,
She can get
which
I
I
think
mean, you
she can get
did.
on the train, right?
Yeah, right?
She
She
did.
could get on the train. She could fucking Uber that night. What the hell?
She's like
I didn't,
from Queens.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But
She's tough as hell.
yes, I like the combo of Sally Field and Martin Sheen.
mhm, for the first 45 minutes when we have
Yeah.
it, and then
I wasn't sure if Uncle Ben was gonna die because I was like, he's in it so much. I feel like maybe this is a different Spider-Man.
truly,
Is that the other thing too? Is like they're like paying Sally Field and Martin Sheen rates for them, so they're like, we got to keep them in as long as possible.
Oh, maybe.
Get our money's worth.
that's true. We got President West Wing and Mrs. Lincoln. We
Literally.
got because I think 2012 was huge for Sally Field. I feel like she did Lincoln and the Spider-Man movies.
And Mrs. Doubtfire that year.
Yeah, she did.
She
Yeah,
did, and then they threw it into the past for 1995.
yeah.
Ultimately, we do lose Uncle Ben, and I would say a very clunky death scene. I don't know. It's what it's like a store robbery, and Peter's like, "I'll let this man go," and then Ben just happens to be there, and there's a tussle for the gun, and they go bang, and I'm just like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm not. I didn't miss Uncle Ben. I don't need Uncle Ben. I'm sorry. Lock me up. I don't need it. I don't need it. There, I said it.
Also, to be killed by a guy who looked like that, just that guy's style was so upsetting.
Also, how many guys in the city look like that? There's
I
like,
I would say several because
So
then Peter
many.
goes on a rampage for like, you look like that guy. You've got shitty hair too.
and that never gets resolved. He just is looking for
Never.
that guy and he
Mm-mm.
never gets him.
And
I
they're all criminals.
They're all
yeah.
criminals. Like, it's like a criminal. It's like the look you have to have as a criminal in 2012
All
Manhattan.
guys with Oakleys and curly, disgusting hair are criminals.
Like dirty blonde because is it dirty blonde naturally or is it just dirty,
It's
comma
just
blonde?
dirty
Dirty from all the crimes they commit.
Yeah.
with a sick wrist tattoo.
Yeah. There's so much unresolved from this movie. Like we don't really find out what happened to the parents or the Richard Parker briefcase. With like the secret file, which like again, I'm not going to talk about Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's a different podcast. Tune in next week. But we lose Uncle Ben. I did like the Spider-Man montage when he's like training to become Spider-Man. I think that was fun. Logan Hulick, you actually trained to be Spider-Man to disastrous results. We all remember that year. How how do you think you could have improved, and how did Andrew Garfield do better than you?
Well, I think where I really failed was changing,
Mm.
from my street clothes into Spider-Man.
Rookie mistake.
And I just think like it was hard to get the hoodie off and then the suit, once you get the suit on, it's a lot tighter than you think. And I was in good shape at the time, and I
Oh
still
yeah.
couldn't fully get it on.
Mm.
And you're like, hold on, give me a second, right? Well, in the heat of battle, you don't get like a second to put your suit on.
Not in the heat of
So
battle.
right. So when he goes behind the wall in the science lab and like goes into that dark hole and comes out as Spider-Man in what was that? A 15-second quick change, maybe?
Yeah.
We're talking about?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah. That was honestly top five most impressive part of the movie. And there was no editing, I heard. He really did that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I think this is a great time to say Andrew Garfield did nothing wrong in this movie. I just want that to be like I adore him, and I think he's one of our finest actors. And I just sorry, yeah, I not to give away where I'm going with fuck Mary Kill at the end of this, but
Oh,
like
Is
I
his
think he's.
American accent absurd or what? I
You think?
it's so good.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like I forget that he's even is he British?
yeah. He's
yes.
British.
That's so insane to me. And I love how he does the accent perfectly, like flawlessly. And Reese Ifans, they're just like, you're just gonna be British because you can't do,
Is
you
that
know.
the one arm Doctor Connor? Don't comment what I just did with my arm, but it was that the one arm Doctor Connor.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's so good at just always having a tear in his eye.
Oh my God, who's
Yeah.
close to crying more, him or
Constantly.
Sally Field?
He's just always like about to cry no matter what, even if it's like he just couldn't eat lunch that day. It's just amazing.
He's so emotionally full.
Yes.
So emotionally full. And also, he's really funny in the Spider-Man mask. I think he's really good when he's Spider-Man. Like this was the coming off of the Tobey Maguire movies. He didn't have cell phones because it was the early 2000s. So it was like so fun to see him like playing like cell phone games or like sitting in a web or like I love when he had his little backpack and Aunt May was like bring eggs home.
Yeah.
Uh he just really sold the funniness of being Spider-Man, which was a little bit of a tonal shift from like my uncle just died, time to quit, time to be really really funny.
Right.
There was one point where he was fighting Dr. Connors and he was like, "Who's the bad lizard?" I was like, this is the dialogue here is so ridiculous. Also, he would have like this really ridiculous New York accent sometimes when he was man.
Wait, I'm instituting a challenge for all of us. Can you give me your best Spider-Man quip? Like if you were the web slinger extraordinary Spider-Man, what would you say as you're fighting crime in New York City? I'll go first if you need me to. I would like spray them with my web and be like, "What's the matter? You got tangled again?" It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. But that's just to be brave.
I'd be like, "Are you sick? Because here's my web MD."
Oh,
That's good. That's good.
And he checked WebMD in the movie.
I would
Oh, I love it.
I would take the lizard and I would throw like 3 cats at him and be like, "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue, lizard?" That's literally how he sounded to me.
Well, okay, if we're throwing props, then I would say if I was Spider-Man, I would lift a tree out of its roots, swing it like a bat, and hit the lizard and be like, "Guess he barked up the wrong tree."
Oh,
Oh,
I mean,
you have to do it with the accent.
guess he
Dude.
barked up the wrong tree.
Oh.
It's a little bit more Boston. But you know what? Boston is not in this movie. And what's also not in this movie is a break, which is what we're going to take right now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back to podcast 616, we're going to talk all about the second half of this movie, Dr. Connors, whoever the Oscorp. And basically, we're going to talk about how to poorly set up a franchise, as I believe this film did. So keep it right here to podcast 616. We'll be back talking about more Amazing Spider-Man, and we'll be back right after this break.
Part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Chase Smith here from the Chase Smith Podcast and Cavs on the Break NBA Podcast.
And I'm JD, host of the Hyman Podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network, and we are super excited to bring you a brand new show starting next Tuesday, the Fanfare Podcast.
The Fanfare Podcast is all about your favorite movies and our favorite movies and the best moments in cinema. To help guide our discussion, each episode will feature one classic, and we will grade this movie using a report card-like scale A through F. We're going to be grading categories like acting, directing, cinematography, the score, and even the movie poster itself.
And when we're not featuring a movie report card, we'll be sharing our movie rankings, franchise deep dives, actor and director interviews, and everything in between. Movies have been a major part of our lives, and we cannot wait to share our thoughts with you.
Our premiere episode will drop Tuesday, June 27th, and JD and I will be reviewing Raiders of the Lost Ark in preparation of the release of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on June 30th, the 5th installment of the franchise.
Join us on the Fanfare Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. Leila Gorstein, you actually, I say this a lot because we have a lot of previous interns because, you know, most of my friends are actors. So you interned for Dr. Connors for a short time. What was that like? Any lizard behavior at the time you knew him?
There wasn't that much lizard behavior. He surprisingly was addicted to red M&Ms, loved red M&Ms. He was kind of a freak. He was a little freak.
A dang ass freak.
A dang ass freak, yeah. Not his real hair. Really
First of all.
really strong right arm.
Yeah, I'll bet. So
I
we had
shouldn't make
Dr.
fun of his disability, but he just he just really points it out a lot. So I don't know. I felt like I had to point it out.
Yes. Dr. Connors. So what I like to do on Podcast 616 is really honor the villains in superhero movies because I do think they
Mm.
are forgettable a lot of the time. So what does he want? He wants, like, he has this serum that I believe whatever they put in the spider worked and that bit Peter is what Dr. Connors put into himself.
Is it the same?
I think so because that's the guy, the man in the suit who I think had no name, was like, it's time for human trials of this serum, no more spiders, and they wanted to. Actually, this was a very creepy line post, vaccination gate that we've all been through in the pandemic. They were
Yes.
like, because he literally was like, just put it in, everyone's yearly flu shot.
Oh shit.
And Dr. Connors was like, well, I don't want that to happen. So he put it into himself. He was like, I'll be the human test case, which was like noble, I would say. Well, I mean, the more noble thing would be to call the police, but he, that's
Really?
why he became the lizard. He's like, well, I don't want them testing on other humans. I'll test it on myself.
I thought it was because he saw it on the lab rat, and the lab rat then grew an arm. So he was like, oh, I can do that too. But then he didn't wait to see that the lab rat turned into a monster.
You always got to wait to see.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that lab rat?
That lab rat, my God.
Oh my god, the Arnold Schwarzenegger of rats.
Pretty hot rat.
Okay,
Rough,
different.
hot rat.
That hot rat.
That hot ass rat.
That hot ass rat eating its
Why
other
were,
rat.
why were his pants around his ankles?
He had pants. The Incredible Hulk of rats. Well, I think it's a little bit of both. I think like he wanted to save people, but I think he also was like, I'm pretty sure I can get another arm if I do this.
Yeah.
So
Question about that. So when
Yeah.
he's a lizard, he's crazy and like a monster like and he can't control himself, but then he has like a lot of empathy for Peter when he's not a lizard. Is that true? That's how I read it.
yeah, it's like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde
Okay.
Oh.
kind of
But
thing.
they don't make that very clear at first. You just have to kind of like guess that, I guess.
But the lizard could still think as a lizard because he was really smart, would like wear the lab coat and go like put up the new vaccine that he wanted to disperse into the air as a
Yeah.
lizard.
Yeah, and man, anytime that lizard talked, I laughed. Durr. A British, which I think they finally found out in the Spider-Man No Way Home when they brought in all the villains from all the other Spider-Man movies. The lizard was one of them, and I think they leaned
Oh.
in. They leaned into the talking lizard. Like, this is kind of crazy. I wish this movie did.
Damn, now I can understand that inside joke. This makes sense. Okay.
Look at that.
Wow.
That's why Podcast 616 is here. Listen and subscribe, please.
Wait,
So that-
something that I wanted to bring up that we never talked about was that when Peter was getting his like new magic powers, it really bothered me that he ripped that woman's shirt off on the train.
Oh, that subway scene. Oh my God, yeah.
That subway
Like-
scene is fucking wild.
That
Mhm.
was wild. And that poor woman.
She just that's where the movie we should have followed her, that thread of her
I know, I
walking
would have
home.
loved to see her go home to her family and be like, this guy ripped my shirt off on the train.
So you're telling me that he
I swear.
No. You lie. You lost another shirt.
No. I swear I didn't go out in my pink bra like this.
No, I swear.
I swear it to my kids.
And yeah, imagine telling that story like this man, he put his hand in my shirt, ripped it off, and then did spin moves and knocked everyone out on the
And then he
train.
started going crazy on all these guys who were kind of criminals.
Oh,
and they're like, oh, he's like, oh, you're at it again.
that's why Uncle Ben didn't want Aunt May to walk home alone.
Fact. Well, so you're telling me he's ripping off the poles out of the subway train uncontrollably. He's ripping shirts off of women, but then literally the next morning he figures out how to write with a pen, and it doesn't stick to him.
You can do that,
Like-
but then he also didn't he like rip off the faucet for the sink and like
Yeah, and like the
door handles.
Keys were coming up.
Oh,
Mhm.
that was another key fact I wanted to bring up was it was crazy how much damage the Lizard and Spider-Man did on the high school, and then they all like went back to school the next day. Like he continued classes when the high school was destroyed.
We just didn't see that wing. The library
Yeah.
wing was destroyed. Oh, shout out to Stan Lee. I remember when
Yeah.
he
That was
so-
funny.
yeah. The one character we have not talked about, which is perfectly fine. This is the exact right time to talk about this tertiary character, but Dennis Leary as George Stacy, the dad. I don't know. Logan, is your dad a cop?
No. So
You got really nervous when I asked that, so now I'm like, I don't know. Is he? He's absolutely sweating, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry to say this.
There was no setup for that. It caught me by some surprise. No. My dad was in the steel business.
Whoa.
Ah,
Yeah.
so he built cops.
He built cops, yeah. Like from the ground up.
Damn.
Then it is fair that you made a Boston reference today because, Dennis Leary feels like the Boston cop.
Yeah.
He just happened to be in Manhattan.
George Stacy. I mean, it's just I feel like if the main character is a teenage boy and he likes a teenage girl, that teenage girl's father is gonna want to kill him. That's just like the law of physics for teen romances.
It was so wild, like when Spider-Man was in Emma Stone's room, and then Dennis Leary was like, "You want some hot chocolate?" And she was like, "Dad, get out of here! I'm on my period. I'm bleeding." And he's like, "Oh, disgusting."
Oh God, you're not my daughter
really-
anymore.
It really was so 2012. It was like, oh, I remember this was like a thing. Women's periods.
He's grabbing his hat and coat, like, oh, gotta go.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a cop. I don't deal with this stuff.
Mhm.
Right. And he's pressing her a little bit. He's
I
kind of like,
know.
he's pressing her, and then she's like, I have cramps. And he's like, whoa. Okay, gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
I just arrest people. That's all I do.
If you were disagreeing with me, I would have been in that room in a second. But cramps? Gotta go.
Yeah. Call your mother. God. That awkward dinner scene where like Peter and the dad are like arguing about Spider-Man, and they cut to the mother and she just does this like, this will be terrible for a podcast, but she does this look like, just kind of silently nods to Emma Stone, like, just let him do it.
Men do this.
Yeah.
We understand. Men are bad.
Honey, this is just their way.
Men argue at the dinner table, and we watch.
Also,
Okay.
they had an immaculate apartment, a gorgeous New York City apartment.
Yeah, that is a fact. It's like,
It was huge.
is
I
that
mean-
is that chief of police money?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, a police captain, I believe. Captain Stacy. Captains live like kings in America. But you know who else is a king? And no one's going to know this is where I'm going. Crane operators. Shout out to the crane operators. I laughed so much when that dad was like, wait a minute. That's the guy who saved my kid. Hey, get your buddies. Clear a path for
Wow.
Spider-Man.
That's another one of those things that in the second half of the movie, comparatively to the first, that took no time. The cranes
Yeah.
the cranes were just down 7th Avenue or wherever they were going down, like in literally 20 seconds.
I didn't even put it together that was the guy whose kid he saved.
Yeah. And I would
I'm like, what a nice
counter,
crane
why
guy.
would you? It's so bizarre. Like, I guess, yeah, he saved one kid, and the parents like, if I ever get a chance to repay the favor, Spider-Man, I'm gonna do it.
And okay, speaking of the pacing, that was another part where when he saved that little kid, that took forever. That
Yeah.
part where it was just like,
Yes.
come on,
Yeah, can
Jack.
we
Jack's like, no. And it was like, oh my God, Jack, like, just hurry it up.
I can't imagine if I was a child and I'm in a car careening to the bottomless depths of the New York River and Spider-Man, they've seen Spider-Man. He's been on the news.
Yeah.
Go go with him. How could that be worse than this?
And the car was randomly on fire. So it's like, get out of there.
Get out of
how did
there.
it get on fire? And then also, I love how Spider-Man gave him his mask, but it didn't make the kid any more courageous.
Yeah.
He was still not moving, just wearing the mask. And Spider-Man's like, oh shit, I gotta throw my web at him anyway.
It's like when you hand a kid an iPad, just play with this.
Yeah.
Literally, it reminded me of the sunglasses in Big Daddy when it's like, this will make you invisible,
Yeah.
but instead it didn't really actually do anything.
God, that's so cute in Big Daddy when he does that.
I love Big Daddy.
We all love Big Daddy, but what we love even more than Big Daddy is Big Fuck Mary Kill. It's time for
Wow.
our final segment of the Fuck Mary Kill. And on the docket for the Amazing Spider-Man Part 1, we've got Peter Parker, Spider-Man himself, Gwen Stacy, played by Emma Stone, and Aunt May, Sally Field. For some, they're the best Aunt May. I will go first to give my guest time to think. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh God. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna kill Aunt May. I'm gonna kill Aunt May. I am. She worries too much, and I want to put her out of her misery. But yeah, I'm gonna kill Aunt May. She didn't do anything wrong, and she's not my least favorite Aunt May. That would be Rosemary Harris. But she's just stressed. I could never relax with an Aunt May in my life. Too much stress for me. I will be. So how am I going to kill her? You know what? I'm going to put her in a car where that
Oh my
kid was.
God.
I would save that kid, put Aunt May in that car, and let it drop. My fuck will be Gwen Stacy. What can I say? Those knee socks. I'm like, that's pretty fun. We will both be in knee socks when we are in our tryst together, and I will marry Peter Parker as played by Andrew Garfield. I see no flaws in that man, and I've seen Tick Tick Boom, so I know he can sing.
Oh,
And I just am prepared to have a wonderful forever life with Andrew Garfield. I mean Peter Parker. And those are my picks. Let's go to our returning guest first, Logan Hulick. Please, who are your picks?
This is gonna sound so cheesy, but it's the same. Okay, so Aunt May is a tough kill. It is. I
For
just
anyone.
want to say that out. Like, that's a hard thing to do because A, it's Sally Field, and
Legend.
B, legend.
Mm.
Oscar winner, Sally Field. But B, it's like, yeah, they didn't. I think it's more of a indictment on the Marvel universe and kind of how they just kind of portrayed her a little bit annoying,
yeah.
at times. And it's like, this kid's got the shit kicked out of him. Are you really going to ask him about the eggs right now?
He did bring the eggs, which makes him a great husband. Just gonna
I
say.
know. So you just, I got to kill her. And I honestly, I think just something easy to kill her. Something, maybe like in her, like a serum in her sleep.
Jesus.
Serum.
Let her rest in peace. So
No,
she
you're fair.
doesn't.
I did say burn her alive in a car. So okay, yeah, that is nicer.
And then, again, I mean, yeah, knee socks, boots, skirt. That's fuck. Well, I mean, everybody knows.
You heard that's fuck.
And then Mary, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to marrying Peter Parker. He's, like we already talked about, he's an emotional well, so you can talk to him about anything probably. I mean, there's still some certain things he's stunted on that we, but we'll change him a little, right?
A little bit. Not a lot, but a little.
Not a lot. And then yeah, I mean, he can save your life at any time, and he doesn't seem like the type that's like gonna uh do something shitty behind your back 20 years down
Yeah.
the road. He seems loyal, and and he has good morals and honor, for respecting her father's wishes. And even at the very end with the reveal scene, Marvel always does the reveal scenes during the credits, or
Yeah.
whatever. I call them reveal scenes. What do you call them? The
Post-credit sequences.
post-credit sequences. Thanks. PSCTs. And so like even the lizard has like he's like, no, don't hurt him. Everybody loves Peter. Like he has
Everyone loves
empathy
Peter.
for him. So that's me.
I love it. All right, Leila Gorstein.
Oh, I feel pretty much the exact same way. But I will say, yeah, I think I have trouble wanting to marry Peter because of like the whole hero complex. Like I don't want him to think he needs to save me. And I think communication could be a little bit better. Like I think on the porch when Gwen Stacy was like, my dad died and he didn't show up to his funeral. And then he was just like, I can't do this. Like he was just gonna ghost her. Come on.
Oh,
You can
I
use
forgot
your
about that.
say like, listen, I want to be with you. I think you're hot as shit, but I promised your dad right before he died that I couldn't see you, and I think that's fair. And then I think she would be like, that is fair, and you're hot. Love it. I think there was a way
And
to
you're
have
hot.
some closure with that. I don't get the whole like, I need to do this for you. It's like give the woman some agency, like communicate your feelings, and then maybe you'll have a good conversation. But that being said, he's just so hot in the movie and so likable and and like those scenes between him and Gwen Stacy were just so hot. I really like I was like, damn, I'm like into this. So
Mhm.
because of that, I do think it would be fun to the way I look at the fuck and the marry is like
Please
you
break it down.
yeah, with the marry fuck kill, the fuck you can only do it probably once, where it's like a one night stand. Whereas the marry, you get to have sex with this person a lot. So I
Yes.
feel like I would want to have sex with Peter Parker a lot. Um,
Yes.
but with Gwen Stacy, I also think she's so hot. She's really smart. And I think she does have a lot of agency because I mean, then she was like, you're doing this probably because you promised him, huh? And it's like, wow, way to figure that out without having any communication.
Mhm.
So I would love to have sex with her once. And then I would kill Aunt May. Probably I would yeah, I was thinking the same as you, Logan, that I would let her die in her sleep, but maybe like she has like a protein issue where she doesn't eat enough eggs. So I just keep her from eating the eggs and then she slowly withers away.
Is
That
that a
sounds,
thing?
no, I'm just making it up. I think she has like
Okay.
addiction to eggs.
Mm.
So maybe she has withdrawal and slowly dies. But I also want to add a little addendum. I'd have sex with the lizard.
At the same time as Gwen Stacy, or just on a separate night?
I think, yeah, maybe I'd do like a little like group thing with Gwen Stacy and the lizard.
Oh, I mean,
Let
why not?
Let me see what those weird little new birth fingers can do.
Yeah, let's
just-
chop off some limbs and grow.
Just quick warning: if there's a threesome between anyone, Gwen Stacy, and the lizard, you're going to be doing a lot of watching.
Wow, you're
Mm.
right. And
That
maybe
lizard.
that's fine. I think I enjoyed watching the movie.
And that's Fuck, Marry, Kill, our first addendum I think we've ever had in 3 years. So thank you for that. And that's The Amazing Spider-Man. I was telling producer Michael before that I did like it, but like the issues I have with it, I'm like, oh, well, maybe they will get better if they were given a sequel. And I'm here to tell you the sequel is not very good. It's actually the worst thing I've ever seen. But
Oh,
we'll get to that
Ooh.
next week on Podcast 616. But for now, Logan Hulick, what are your socials? Do you want to promote anything? What's going on with your life?
My social is just my name, Logan Hulick, Instagram, and yeah, no, I have nothing to promote. I don't think at this time, but yeah, just out here hit me up for lunch sometime or something.
I feel like that was directed to me.
The DM me.
You heard it. DM him for lunch. See what happens. Leila Gorstein, how about you?
You can follow me on socials at LOL Gorstein, and you can come watch Oh, the Places You'll Glow on the ETC stage at Second City if you want to come watch some sketch comedy.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Oh,
Seriously.
thanks.
It's a very good show. She's very good in it.
Thank you, Damon.
Yay.
I had a great time.
I feel like you're saying that because I said I would have sex with the lizard.
I am. And also I am, but also it's true. Both things could be true. You can follow this podcast on Instagram at podcast616p3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcast, our podcasting network that lets us talk about lizard sex anytime we want. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give this podcast that we just did?
I love this one. This one was really good. I'll give you guys A+ and a thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
Oh, thanks,
and we got,
Michael.
thank you, Michael. We got them thumbs.
Michael, you can DM me for lunch anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leila says, yeah, DM Logan for lunch.
Yeah, or you could fly to Chicago and watch some lizard stuff. I don't know.
And what else can we say? Thank you, Logan. Thank you, Leila. Double L. Thank you, Michael. Oh God, that sounds bad. Double L, 2 L's. Okay, and thank you, Michael. Thank you, Amazing Spider-Man Part 1. Podcast 616 will be back next week for Amazing Spider-Man 2. God help us all. But until that time, please remember that with great power comes even greater responsibility. Uncle Ben.